How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Lovely, Joseph. Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah. It's a Friday evening, so I'm gonna be very quick, yeah, so that you can have time to go around and chill, yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm at
All right.
work though.
Oh, you are good. Oh, okay.
I'm at work, yes.
Okay. So, where are you calling from?
Sorry?
Which town are you calling from?
Which
Which,
which area?
yeah, which area?
Oh, Derby.
Derby. Okay, Derby. Okay, that's far off from Manchester. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
that's
An
all
hour
right.
and a half away.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take all your time at work. Don't worry. Let's see what we can do.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
We began last week with few concepts about quality, managing quality, and service delivery, and this is quite different from the quality that we know in terms of business management. So the lecture is done in such a way that it addresses quality in the health and social care sector. Yeah. Good. So this unit, this lecture is going to explore theories and approaches that we use for monitoring and measuring quality, specifically in the health and social care sector. Though some of the theories might apply to other areas, these are done basically in the health and social care sector, as that is what we are more concerned about. Good. Good. All right. Let's look at a brief history of quality of healthcare. A brief history. Now, in terms of quality, it dates back centuries ago, right? Mr. Codman tried to bring in the issue of quality. Codman was a surgeon, and because that time, if you talk about quality, it's more about the quality of a car, the quality of a machine, not the quality of a service in the hospital. So Codman was actually kicked out of the Massachusetts General Hospital. That was very sad because the surgeons felt that they were very competent, they know what they are doing. So what is all about this quality this man is trying to bring about? So he was actually kicked out. That is the genesis of measuring quality in the health and social care. Let's look at the next slide. What is there? Why is quality important? And why are we currently trying to emphasize on quality? Why are you trying to emphasize? In fact, in terms of health and social care, we should expect no less from our health system and provided than we do for our own cars. This day and age of suing, I mean, you can't afford to make a mistake. So in the UK, when a foundation trust is not functioning well, the Care Quality Commission, the CQC, the agency that did the inspection will go there and close it. Simple. If it's a ward, the ward will be closed, and you might have to attend other wards in the nearby cities. So some foundation trusts have suffered because of lack of quality. If you go to the care homes, it's miserable. Most care homes are closed down by the Care Quality Commission because they don't provide the services that is standard, right? However, systematic evaluation of quality of care has long been stigmatized. Why quality of care? I mean, the doctors know what they are doing, and sometimes clinicians play as God because they know everything. So as I said, when Codman started, he was thrown out of the hospital. Right, but today, total quality measurement is a dying academic and policy discipline. Everybody wants to go into that. In fact, we've embraced the concept of quality in production and manufacturing now into healthcare because we realize that human beings are more important, and no surgeon or consultant or GP or any system can make a mistake. There's no trial and error for human beings. It's one and for all. You either have the best possible health outcome or worst possible outcome. So that you go to the hospital, you come back with multiple sickness. Right, so it's not something that we can be playing around, try and error. So healthcare, quality in terms of healthcare is very, very, very important now. Very, very important. Now, let's look at one of the approaches by a man called Donovan. He developed his own model for measuring quality of care. So this was done in 2005. And there are 3 components for evaluating the quality of care and to be able to measure improvement. And according to Mr. Donovan, the 3 components are structure, process, and outcome. Right. He believed that structure measures have an effect on the process measure, which in turn will affect the outcome. So we have the structures that will affect the outcome. So if you put the right structures in place, you're going to get the best outcome. In fact, whatever we do in life, if you put the right and appropriate structures in place, you have a nice outcome. If you're building a house, you need the foundation. And at the moment, they are not even using, iron bars and the rest that we used to use them some time ago. It's a whole frame. You just build a metal frame, just add some claddings and mirrors, and that's it. So if the right structure in place, the building is going to be nice and solid. So the Donovan believe that if we have good structures in place, it will affect the process that we use to work, and then it will turn out with a very, very good outcome. So that is what he's saying. So the reality is that cause and effect are more complex, particularly within the NHS. With so much variability in individual patients. People are different. Cases are different. So the selection of relevant measures can be developed using driver diagrams, according to Donovan. So when do we have to use these structures? When to use it? Now, it's really important for improvement project to have outcome, a process, a structure, and the balancing measure. It is not an either-or decision. Each of the different types of measures has a different purpose in determining whether the improvement project has had any desired impact at all. In case we want to make any impact, we should be able to determine whether the improvement that we're trying to put in the system had any impact at all. Let's look at the next structure. According to him, there are 4 key things: outcome measures. This reflects the impact on the patient and demonstrate the end result of your improvement work. So in the NHS, when we say the outcome of patient care, is either the patient has recovered, has got worse situation, or has died. So if we conduct any operation, the patient outcome is the result of the treatment the person will receive. Examples of outcome measures are reduced mortality, reduced death rate, reduced length of stay in the hospital. Why do you go to the hospital, get well, and you're still not discharged? When there's so much pressure on hospital bed that you need to go home and others you come in. So some of the measures are reduced mortality, reduced length of stay in the hospital, reduce hospital-acquired infections, adverse incidents or harm, reduce emergency admissions, and improve patient care. These are all things that we can use to measure quality in health care setting, right? If it's about cars or computers, the outcome could be how fast the processor is, how nice the computer is, or how fast the car can move. But in terms of the healthcare, the outcomes that we measure for us to know that this is a quality service or product is simply reduction in mortality, reduced length of stay, reduced hospital-acquired infection, adverse incident or harm, or reduce emergency admissions and improve patient care. These are clear things, so you can use them to measure different hospitals. Maybe if it's the maternity ward, you can measure between different hospitals number of maternal deaths at each delivery. That, according to this model, is how our quality in healthcare is measured. So we look at the outcomes, then we look at the process measure. This reflects the way your system and processes work to deliver the desired outcome. For example, the length of time a patient waits for a senior clinical review. If a patient receives certain standard of care or not, if a staff wash their hands, recording of incidents and acting on the findings, and whether patients are kept informed of the delays when waiting for an appointment. These are all process measures. They are processes that you go through before you actually receive treatment and then have your outcome. So some of the process, for instance, nowadays, is the long delays in accident and emergency. So sometimes I begin to ask myself, is that really an emergency? When I spend 4 hours, 5 hours, especially at weekends, when people are drunk, they get booze, they get accidents, they fall down, people vomit, they get sick, and accident emergency is packed. Emergency is emergency. As soon as you go there, you have to be taken care of. So you begin to ask yourself, is that process properly done? Is that quality in terms of waiting time? That is a process measure that is fed into quality. Now, let's look at structure measure. This reflects the attributes of service for the provider, such as the staff-patient ratio and operating time of the service. These are otherwise known as input measures. Input measures. Because if you want to get quality, then the staff-patient ratio should be high. So if you have one consultant attending to 100 patients, how is that going to be something that will bring a quality outcome to the patient? So the structures that need to be put in place is also very, very important. Then we have the balancing measures. This reflects unintended and or wider consequences of change that can be positive or negative. It's about recognizing these and attempting to measure them and or reduce their impact if necessary. An example of a balancing measure will be monitoring emergency readmissions following initiative to reduce length of stay. It's a balancing measure, right? Monitoring emergency readmission. You come to the emergency, you've gone, and then you'll be readmitted again, right? Whilst we have put things in place to reduce length of stay. So these are balancing issues that must all be fed into measuring quality in health and social care. So if you look at the measures that we are trying to put up, you could see that it's far different from how people think about quality in manufacturing, quality in the industrial sector, right? Or quality in finance. This is quality in health and social care, which is quite a distinct area. And the way things are measured in terms of quality is all about the ultimate being the patient outcome. So at the end of the day, if you go to hospital, you want to be on a nice hospital bed, you need to be spoken by consultants and nurses and receptionists who are polite, who will calm you down. This all feed into what? The process of quality measurement. Right, let's look at the next slide. Let's look at how the Donovania model of quality of care works. I've explained in details, but these are the structure, the process, and the outcome. So when we say structure, it talks about the physical and organizational features where healthcare actually occurs. They are physical and organizational in character. Then the process focuses on the care delivered. Example, services, diagnostics, and treatment. And finally, the outcome is the effect of healthcare on the status of patients in the population. So if you look at the structures, do we have the right machinery in place? Do we have the right consultant in place? Do you have the right wards in place? Those are physical and organizational issues that need to be put in place if we will be able to attain quality. Then the process is focused on the care delivered to patients. For example, services that you will see if you go to the hospital. Diagnostics, how they will take you to the X-ray. Do they have the right machine to be able to diagnose you well and do things? And the treatment you receive, they are all processes that you go through. Maybe you are referred by a GP to the hospital, the way you are received by the receptionist, how you are assessed initially. Maybe you stand on the scale, they look at your weight, look at your pressure, the blood pressure, it takes some blood, and then if you need an X-ray, how you go through that, and all the treatment you receive are processes. The quality of this process will feed back into the outcome, the status of the patient in the population. Did you get healed? Were you happy with what you received, patient outcome? Were you happy? Were the carers and relatives, were they all happy? Were you healed? Did you receive the treatment that you want? That is the outcome. So when we talk about managing quality in healthcare, then we look at the structures, the process, and outcome. And this is one of the very useful models or theories that we'll be using in doing our assignment. Right. Let's move on to the next slide. What next? Measurement of quality improvement does not have to be complicated or result in many measures. After all, collecting a few measures over time and presenting the information well with rank chart or statistical process control chart is fundamental to developing changes that not only have impact but can be sustained and spread. This is the key component of the 7 steps to measurement for improvement. So if you want to measure the issue of quality, you should be able to collect information. At the moment, we can just run through statistics and look at what is going on between different NHS Foundation trusts just in the UK. The figures are there, you draw your pie chart or bar graph or whatever it is, and you can see it. Right. So chart is fundamental to developing changes. So once you're able to do it, you'll be able to know where things are going wrong, where things are going right, where you need to improve. Then we are maintaining quality. Let's go to the next slide. Measurement can show us a number of important pieces of information. Number one, how well our current process is performing. Number two, whether we have achieved our aims. Maybe you set some quality target. Maybe we have to make sure that if somebody comes to A&E, the longest we can wait is 1 hour. We can set that target. We have to ask ourselves whether we have achieved our aim or not. How much variation there is in our data and hence the process. You can see variation in the data of different sections of the hospital or different foundation trusts having different sort of data, different death rate, different maternal death, different delays in discharge. They are all things that you can see. Whether a small test of change is having a desired impact. In fact, for quality, if you're able to make in some small change, it might end up bringing a very huge impact that you might not even expect. And whether the changes made have resulted in an improvement. Now, changes are meant to bring an improvement, so you can measure whether that change can actually bring an improvement and whether that change can be sustained. Now, if you make changes that you think put this in to bring quality, to improve, and that improvement is not sustained, then you have not done anything. That is why we need another concept called continuous improvement. So in healthcare, we need continuous improvement. In fact, 50 years back, maternal death in the UK was very, very high. But over the years, they put things in place to be able to improve the quality of care. Whereas the reverse or the other side of the world, I don't usually say underdeveloped countries, but developing countries, right? Because we are all developing. You might see that a hospital was operating very fine, and then as the year goes by, performance or quality tends to deteriorate because we are not able to sustain any changes that we made, right? So we need to see changes in how well we are performing, whether we have achieved our aim, how much variation there is in our data, and hence the process, whether a small test of change is having a desired impact, whether the changes made have resulted in an improvement, and whether a change has been sustained. So this is healthcare. So quality, managing quality and service delivery in healthcare is something quite distinct and different. So once you start working on your assignment, you need to know that you don't take any business management quality models that will not work for you. Well, whatever you take, make sure you tailor it towards health and social care measurement of quality. Right. So you can go into Donovania 2005, evaluating quality of medical care, the Mailbound Quarterly, and then you can have articles there to read so that you can reference your work very well. Getting the measure of quality, opportunities and challenges, Raleigh and Ford 2010 is another good one that you can have a look at. So at least you will be able to back your assignment with relevant literature. Let me go down there a bit and have a look at a few things before I leave you to go. Wouldn't take much of your time. So the next slide, this concept is quite familiar in business. Total Quality Management, TQM. But at the moment, we are trying to look at it from the healthcare perspective. Total Quality Management, TQM is very popular. If you Google it, you have it all over. In fact, it was a business concept. It was in business management. But such concepts have been used extensively in terms of managing quality and service delivery in the health and social care. So what is the objective? The TQM. It's about improving quality of service and product for patients, right? Not for customers of cars and all that. For patients and other customers continuously, even if there are no specific problems. Or sometimes in developing countries, they sit down for the problem to come up before they try to put in stuff to maintain quality. That this one, we are improving quality of services and products for patients and other customers continuously. This is healthcare, dealing with human beings. So how best can you reduce death rate from simple hernia operations? Right, so don't sit down for the problem to arrive, or continuously. What are the targets? If you want to improve quality of service and the product for patients, we involve all clinicians and non-clinical systems. All clinical and non-clinical systems and processes. In fact, all. If you actually want to have total quality, if you train more clinicians and give them more skills, what about the non-clinical people? So if you want, then the system should be all. It will involve leadership, all clinical and non-clinical leaders. After all, the administrators in the hospital have a key role to play if we are able to bring in the issue of quality, the issue of sanity in the whole process. Right, so clinicians can be quite good doing their work well trained, but then if we have non-clinical leaders not doing their work properly, making appointments, arranging for food that they will eat at the hospital while they are on admission, purchasing of oxygen and all equipment is going to be a mess up, no matter how trained and qualified the clinicians are. So leadership is all, clinical, non-clinical. What is the focus of TQM? Improvement of all the processes and the people that affect the outcome at the horizontal level. The outcome. The outcome is what? Good patient outcome. Patients are fine, they are satisfied with the treatment they got, they are healed, they are discharged quickly. So improvement of all processes. So every process involved, from probably the first time you are referred, you go to the receptionist in the hospital, you go through triage, they all come and look at you, how you go into the consultant, the medication process, how you are sent to the ward, the food you eat, is the entire process. And all people involved, including care assistants and caterers who serve you, everybody, if you really want total quality management. And the focus will be what? Performance improvement. So if it's about the clinicians or the consultant, they need to continuously improve what they do. If it's about the caterers, the way they serve their food, if it's about the phlebotomist, the way blood are taken, everything must be improved. And then we need to focus on first prevention and design of the process improvement. We always have to make sure we prevent lapses in the first place. That is how to bring in quality. Don't let a mistake happen. First, prevention and the design of the process improvement. And then we need to focus on inspection and monitoring of the process. If you put the best process in place and there's no proper inspection and monitoring, we will not be able to attain what is called total quality. Here we are dealing with total quality management. The health and social care sector, total quality management. So with all the countries where inspection and monitoring are enforced, we always have quality. In fact, Hong Kong is one of the countries with the highest level of cleanliness and sanitation. Hong Kong is one, then another Asian countries, what's the name? Hong Kong is one, the other one I've forgotten. I mean, the place is neat because there are inspection and monitoring in place. If you compare the UK at the moment to other Scandinavian countries, you could see that inspection is superb in Norway. Inspection and monitoring is superb compared with the UK. At the same time, the UK is quite better than some of the countries in Europe. And if you go to Asian countries and Africa, inspection and monitoring is very loose. Because the person who is supposed to do the inspection and monitoring would prefer doing something else and then getting some payment somewhere. Of course, it's not all of them. It's not always the case, but that are some of the lapses that we have in developing countries, inspection and monitoring. That is why we are not able to maintain quality. So total quality depends on inspection and monitoring process, which is very thorough. Right. Who are involved? We have to look at the focus. What about the customers and requirement? If we want to achieve total quality, patients are involved, professionals are involved, review organizations are involved, suppliers are involved, potential customers are involved. Patients, of course, are people who are sick and go to the hospital. You've got professionals who are clinicians, and then we have review organization. And here we have the Health Watch England. They are more or less the mouthpiece who speak for individual patients who are not able to defend themselves. If anything goes on wrong, the Health Watch is there like more or less a whistleblower. They will gather patient views and present them for improvement. At the same time, if you talk about the review organization, the major one is the CQC, Care Quality Commission. They are very brutal in terms of their inspection. If they come and the hospital is not performing, they close it. If you need to be sanctioned, you are sanctioned. If you are fined, you are fined. If they want to close it, they close it. Very strict. That's a review organization. And then we have suppliers who supply services to the hospital, because a healthcare organization usually outsource some of their services, like the food delivery, catering is outsourced. Supply of oxygen is all outsourced. We have to make sure we involve all of them in if we want to get our quality. And then potential customers, the public, will also be educated about our intention to get what is called total quality, TQM. At the same time, there are no fixed standard. In fact, standards keep on changing because we always want to build it. So if you have a fixed standard, how do you continuously improve? No fixed standard, continuously improving and adapting standard established by customers and professionals. So it's not about only professionals deciding what to do, but getting customers' input who are patient. So patient voices are quite important if we want to obtain what is called total quality, TQM, total quality management in the health and social care. What are the methods? We have indicator monitoring and utilization of data. How do we do it? Indicator monitoring. There are so many indicators that we need to set. Now, once you set the indicators, they are like traffic lights. You have to monitor and see if the green is on, if it's yellow, it's going to get green. You monitor it. And in the course of monitoring, you gather data from it so that you can analyze it and see how things are going. One method is also brainstorming. You can brainstorm and bring things out, how best you can do things. Right? And then you can involve nominal groups and do what is called the Delphi method, where you try it with the patient to come out with the best outcome. And then we have this force field analysis, which is also borrowed from business. You can employ the force field analysis. You can employ flowchart. And what we do here very well in the UK is checklisting. If you go to the hospital, they have some checklist. The receptionist will just tell you whatever you tell him or her, you write it, refer you to the next person who come and check you. The first, if you say you have a headache is already there. There's a checklist. It will be ticked. They will check, oh, your name is right, date of birth is right, your condition, you tick everything. And then from there, it goes to the person who will take your temperature. He or she will ask you the same question with a checklist in hand. Tick, 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 tick. You don't want to make any mistake. Then it goes to maybe a nurse who also triage in a circle. They all have to make sure that they have the checklist that they tick, that you are the patient involved, you have the condition, and all your vital signs are checked and confirmed. And then sometimes they will confirm it with your patient records, which is there already. Then the consultant comes in and do another check. These checklists are quite important. Sometimes we see them as a waste of time. It's not. Because there are instances where quality stuff were not put in place. So a man suffering from having a problem and need the left leg to be amputated because he didn't go through trial. They made a mistake. The surgeon actually removed the right leg. Just because they didn't take care, there's no quality checking in the system. So checklists are one of the major methods of maintaining quality. Check, tick, tick, tick. Everybody will tick and make sure that they confirm that that is the right thing they are doing. Then we have quality function deployment. We have to deploy that function as well. A whole sector for deploying quality. So the methods are quite rigorous, and if we apply all, we are not going to make any mistake. Who are involved in terms of total quality? In fact, everyone is involved in the process, where actions are defined by a team of people familiar with the process, and there's total institutional involvement, from the cleaner up to the consultant. Everybody, drivers, they are all included if we are going to attain what is called total quality management, TQM. And if we do all that, what is going to be the outcome? Include measurement and monitoring, focus on process improvement, and consequently reducing threats to individuals, promoting team spirit, and improving performance of everyone involved. Continuous activity. And as I told you, quality improvement is not static. It changes. Things get worse and improve and the rest, but it should be continuous. So monitoring of process for deviation, that is called quality assurance. Monitoring of processes for deviation, that ensures what is called quality assurance. And then continuous improvement of standard, that is quality improvement. So there are two things here: quality assurance, monitoring the process, and then quality improvement, which is continuous improvement. And there should also be follow-up of special or common cause of deviation. In manufacturing, if the final product is on the conveyor belt, somebody comes in, they follow it up over there, whatever the machine couldn't pick as deviations, human beings will stand there and pick them out. And sometimes we call them factory reject. In healthcare, there should be follow-up of special or common cause deviations, so that we make sure that when we say total quality management, is total but not partial. All right. So we had a very quick and interesting lesson on managing quality and service delivery, looking at least two models and theories of managing quality and service delivery. And as I said, this is a weekend. Joseph, I will allow you to rest, and then next week we'll meet again. So try your hands on what we've done so far and see whether you can start solving some of the questions. And if you have any question, then we can discuss. Are you happy, Joseph?
Yes, I am, yes.
Lovely, 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 lovely. Maybe sometimes I'll just put it on video so that you can see who is talking behind the computer. Right. Thank you so much for your time. Let me leave you to work, and then let's see how.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And have a good weekend.
All right. Cheers. Bye. Bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.